Alright, hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our weekly D&D game. Last week, you guys had struck your bargains and pled your cases to the drow who were on the fence about staying or returning to the Underdark. Leah and Vendar escorted the group who would not stay out of the city and spoke with Zephyrius, where they learned of a god that some of the drow seemed to worship the party had not heard of. They returned to Nalia and Laramendis to share this knowledge with the group, especially Laramendis, their scholar of Ione, the goddess of knowledge, and they got to learn directly from Zephyrius about Illustrae, the Dark Maiden, who went into exile into the Underdark following Lolth in order to protect the drow from her. The party learned that she is more of a lesser or demigod. She does not have the power of Lolth, and she certainly doesn't have the following. But it was expressed to the party that if they could rekindle or inflame the drow faith in Illustrae, then she could be their path to the surface and their salvation from Lolth. So, the first thing that the group needed to do before they could begin working on the citizens of Volinar here was fulfill their promise to Zephyrius, gather the bodies of the fallen drow, and have them buried or interred in the lich yard of the Raven Queen in the southeast corner of the city as any other citizen would be. Laramendis did a quick head count, determined they'd need about 40 shrouds to properly collect and transport the dead with the requisite respect, and headed off to the Temple of the Raven Queen to request or buy these shrouds, with a short detour to get a cart to transport the bodies. Upon reaching the Temple of the Raven Queen, they met with two clerics. One, and tiefling, whose name I am scrolling back up to. My list of NPCs is very long. Orasker was a male tiefling who had a very deadpan personality, the way he spoke to the party. And an elven woman who was introduced as Lorana. She introduced herself to Laramendis, claiming that she recognized him from stories from her friend Nalia, who spends a great deal of time, according to her, in the Temple of the Raven Queen. Cyrus recognized the name Lorana as the one given to the party by the world hopper Nerevar, who appeared in the desert when the Lich's lair vanished in a puff of pure magic. He said he had traveled across many worlds and many years in search of his wife, Lorana. And it seems that the party may have found her. Cyrus confronted her about this, which she did not deny knowing Nerevar. She denied that he could be here, because, as she told the party, she saw him die 50 years ago and 100 worlds away in her own words. And in an attempt to prove his statements, Cyrus used minor illusion to create an image of Nerevar before her, and Jebel used wild shape to become the Quetzal Cal. Which seemed to very much further upset her, as she seems very much convinced that he is dead, claiming she witnessed it firsthand. So, we return to the party as Jebel has resumed his gnomish shape, and Lorana is demanding an exploration of how they could possibly know Nerevar. Laramendis has performed sending and told Cyrus that Nalia is on her way. So, as you stand in the foyer to this Temple of the Raven Queen, which seems as though it must have been deathly quiet before your arrival, as it is now echoing with the gasps and sobs of this elven woman as she sits on the floor, her legs useless. The tiefling will return to the room via one of the doors to the side, bearing another bundle of white linen shrouds. And he will move across the floor directly toward the group. Almost like a fast walk. He doesn't run or jog, and it's... But you can tell by the way he's moving that there is urgency. He quickly sets down the bundle on the bench next to the other shrouds that have been retrieved, and he kneels beside Lorana, placing an arm around her shoulders. He says, "What has happened? Are you all right?" She takes a moment to try to control her breathing. He looks up at you folks and says, "What have you done to her?"
I told her what I thought would be good news, but she doesn't seem to be taking it well.
He looks at her again, and then he sees this image of the Eladrin you've created. He says, "I think that you should take the shrouds and go. I will see to her." He remains on the floor with her, not attempting to move her.
I will have turned off the image at the very least.
The image disappears.
Lemurs, do you think we should go or wait for Nalia?
I believe that we should begin the work that we must do.
Alright.
I will turn to him and thank him, and then...
He is, attempting to, console Lorana, almost wordlessly, simply with his presence. But you do hear him say one thing almost as a mantra as you go to retrieve the shrouds. You hear him whispering to her in common. She has enfolded him in her wings, and she protects him forevermore.
I moved to leave once we
Yep.
acquired everything. I don't know if everyone else here is intending to do the same, or Yukikaze has a different thought. He didn't send anything there.
Yukikaze? What was that? I can't hear you.
I think all I'll do is trying to think. I just blanked for a second. Did Cyrus say anything after that comment? Nothing else was said, correct?
I don't think a statement was made. I had said that Laramentis is making moves to, now that we have the shrouds, to leave and begin the work that needs to be done, unless anyone else is going to try and stop him or give a different suggestion.
Yeah, it seems to me, Malachi, that nothing has been said since Orasker suggested that you take the shrouds and leave.
Well, well, I would be looking to help carry him because I'm guessing that many shrouds would be very heavy, and probably Lehrman's cannot carry him all himself.
They're big and bulky. Yeah, it's different. You'd have to take, they brought them up in 3 piles, so...
Yeah, no, I was just wondering because I'm right there with the conversation happening. I just didn't want. I'm just, trying to. Sorry, I'm not as quick on my feet with my statements. Or
it's fine. That's why I'm asking if you wanted to do anything other than that, or if that is what you want to just do, is just silently grab them and leave.
Well, Cyrus is right next to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll not try to be secretive, but just low voice, be like, Cyrus, maybe we should come back with him, and because we're only causing her distress at the moment, and I'm gonna start helping Laramentis load the wagon.
You had heard Laramentis say that Nalia is on her way. Laramentis didn't say that Nerevar was as well, but he doesn't know. But you do know that Nalia is coming.
Okay, I'll just leave it at that. I still would like to leave it as that dialogue. Okay. So then I will proceed to help Laramentis then.
Okay. You can grab a bundle, or if you want to grab 2, you could, you can grab 2.
Got like a good third of one.
I'll I'll grab as much as I can without causing myself to hurt myself or drop it on anyone.
Yeah, no. You can grab 2 bundles of linens, because you are large and strong.
I'll be trying to help carry them too, because
You'll
best
carry
you
them.
can.
Yeah, you can grab remnants from the bundle that Larmandus had to break up, and if Jebel is helping, he can grab some of the rest.
Yep.
Okay. Between the 4 of you, you can get all of the linens and hustle yourselves back out into the rain, which you know is beginning to lighten.
Nice. So
It hasn't stopped. And there's still thunder in the air, but you feel like the storm is beginning to move off. Outside, the horse and wagon waits for you. The horse is pawing the stones. You can hear its shoe on its front hoof clacking against it as it tests the pavement. The paving stones, that is to say. And as you place the bundles of linens into the wagon, you're going to hear a voice from up the street call out, "Lair!"
Do I recognize his voice?
Yes, you do. I really do need to shrink that image. It's so obnoxious trying to move it around. And you see your friends, including Nalia, whose voice you recognize, and the drow Zeph, sprinting down the street towards you. And by sprinting, I mean really moving.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that you finish putting the bundles on and then wait for them to arrive.
Yeah.
So you get there and wait for you toss the bundles onto the back of the wagon, and then await their arrival, which takes less than a minute. At which point, they all stop and everybody kind of breathes a sigh of relief. Honestly. And Nalia says, "I told you I'd get here as fast as I could. Haste. Whew. Never make me do that again."
I didn't intend to.
I hear you're messing up my plans.
So it would seem. It becomes easier to not mess up plans if they're shared.
Yeah, well, it seemed like a big deal. I wanted to do it right. Besides, how many chances do you get for something like this?
Precious few.
So I'm just gonna slink away and hide behind one of the other two with a 27 for hide.
Wrong other one. So yeah, Cyrus, vanishes somewhere among the wagon. And, Nerevar, seeming a little impatient, says, "Could I please be informed as to why I was asked to help out with this? And sprint across the city? Is something the matter?" And after a pause of Nalia sweeping a raised eyebrow across the second group, she says, "Yes, there's something I had wanted to tell you, and I wanted to confirm it for myself first. And to be completely honest with you, I had wanted to make this somewhat of a gift, as I had suspicions from the moment we began talking." And he looks a little exasperated and says, "And that is?" He says, "You told my friends that you came to this world looking for someone important. My friends have confirmed that they've located her." The look of exasperation on his face continues for a moment as the words sink in, and you see his shoulders kind of slump back to a resting position, and he looks daunted. You found Lorana."
She's here?
"Well, where is she?"
Go
ahead.
Go on.
No, that was his question. What's yours?
Are we next to the location?
Yeah.
Like, are we next to the temple?
Yeah.
Yeah, just outside the temple.
Sorry, this blue over here is the Temple of the Raven Queen.
Can I roll a history to see if I make out a connection and remember her?
Yes. You may roll history.
Because even when me as in Guaco forgot, you mentioned me, you reminded me last time, so I think we have to get up.
The DC will be 15.
Okay. I don't think I make it. Let's see, what is my history? That is Rooster not. I have my bookmarks sorted by color. So sometimes I accidentally click Rooster Teeth when I want to click the Indie Beyond. History. Oh yeah, that's a +1. So yeah, no, I don't make it. I got a 6.
Oh man.
The eyes befuddled.
Somebody's got a banjo.
Nah, it's a ukulele. My grandparents are away, so I can do this now.
I see.
I've
Alright.
just been fiddling with it when I've been muted.
So, no, the name, obviously rings bells as you think about it. You can recall that Nerevar had said he was looking for somebody, and you go, Lorana. Oh yeah, that is the name that he said he was looking for. But here, you're kind of scratching your head, going, I don't. What you do remember is coming to this temple and talking about death with Nalia. That's what stands out in your mind. You remember that from a month ago, but the name Lorana, it just doesn't. It didn't take hold. But you figured that it must have something to do with this place, since everyone's standing around here. Nalia continues. She's here, and she extends a hand toward the great stone facade of the building. She's been ministering to the people of Volinar about the Raven Queen and the importance of death for some years now. She and I are good friends, and at this point, a bit of incredulity filters through his shock. He says, "You're friends with her? Then you..." "Yes. I was very certain when you talked about her before, but as I said, I thought that perhaps a proper time and place and handling of it would be fitting, given what you told me of your journeys. This isn't..." She looks severely at what I had in mind, but seeing as things are no longer in my control, she's inside. You should go to her. And he takes a couple steps forward, just sort of looking over the front of the building. I had a plan for everything I wanted to say when I finally found her, and I find it's all left me. I've been looking for over 50 years.
I do feel that I should inform you of one thing. She believes you to be dead.
That makes sense. The
In her arms.
The last time she saw me, I was dying. And there wasn't anything she could do to stop it. The magic on my world is powerful. There are few things you cannot accomplish with it. I imagine she felt tragically let down that day. My bond with Cal, it transcended the magic that she could command, and prevented her from being able to bring us back. Complicated things. We were both very sure that was the end. Well, what you all standing around for? Let's do this. He's going to take a breath and stride forward toward the wooden doors and push his way inside.
As we go to enter, or it seems like everyone's following, I'll be looking, it's like, where's Cyrus? He's the one that noticed it was her.
Actually, is everyone moving to follow him?
That's what I'm curious about, because I would be, because, this is his thing, so I am.
The way he spoke indicated he figured you would.
I hear crickets.
Okay.
I mean, if everyone is, then yes, Laramentis will seem surprised by it.
I only know that these two are.
I will be,
So you're coming out of hiding?
if I have to.
You would have to in order to join them.
Then I am.
There are 3.
Where were you hiding?
Here's on the wagon. Near the horse.
And Laramentis will as well if he's seeing others go.
Zeph is very pointedly going to move to this side of the road so that he can see into the building, but is not nearby.
Wait, did Vena say, Cyrus, why was he hiding?
No,
Yeah,
he said,
or-
I heard where, but if you want to ask why, and that's in character, then I'll shut up.
Oh, where? Okay, sorry. I thought.
Well, I did say why, but it was mostly just a question to myself.
Oh. Alright, well, last call.
Raiken's gonna stay with Zeph.
So I don't even know what's going on.
No. You don't really know what's going on. You know exactly what was discussed just now. So, you know that Nerevar has been looking for his wife Lorana, and that the party found her, and that Nalia knew before the party and had been trying to save it for a special moment.
I'll just stay out with Raiken. I don't want to intrude on their moment. Like everybody else.
Leah, Jebel?
You asking me something?
Are you going to do as Nerevar had said, which is let's go, or are you going to do what the others are doing, which is standing across the street?
I'm gonna stand across the street.
Okay. Leah.
I'm coming in. I'm curious.
Okay. So, the group moves in through the door. Nerevar pulls up short, so you are stopped in the doorway, holding the doors apart. Around yourselves. And inside, as would not be a surprise to the party who was just in there getting linens, there is the elven woman, Lorana. She is slight, pale of skin. She has blue eyes and blonde hair. She has sharp features. But she would see that her eyes are puffy from crying. You're going to play the ukulele, please mute.
I accidentally hit the string.
Okay. And she is now seated on one of the pews, and the tiefling from earlier, who has pale purple skin and blue eyes, is reading a passage next to her. As the door opens to permit you in, she is going to look up, her face still streaked with tears and paint. And she will stand up quickly, seeing the form standing on the door. It is gray outside, so You're not silhouetted, you're rather evenly lit. She raises a hand to her mouth, partially covering it, and says, Nerevar? Is it really you? And, he takes a step closer and draws back his hood, the rainwater flying off and falling to the floor around him as he does so, and Cal pops up next to his head and tweets shrilly before launching himself into the air. You see that he catches her shoulder with one of his outstretched wing claws and sort of pirouettes around her and wrapping her in his wings. And Nerevar says, Hey, you. I haven't got a better line than that. At which point she tugs on Cal's wings so that she can see and breathe, and she strides forward to him, reaching out and laying a hand against his chest, pulling it back quickly, and again, before coming in close and settling against him, saying, I don't understand. I tried everything. There wasn't a way to bring you both back. What in the name of the Raven Queen happened? And, Nerevar chuckled softly. He says, Actually, you should thank her. Grismus struck a deal with the Raven Queen to get us both back at once. This was not something you could have accomplished on your own, I'm afraid. But I love you for trying. Grismus needed me. Some time ago, I had another problem to fix, so he gave me my life back, and had to argue with him a bit to be allowed to come find you. You can hear kind of a muffled laugh as she clearly has her face pressed against his chest. He says, Yeah, that sounds like him. I searched endlessly from the moment I was finished with that job to find you. How did you learn about transferring dimensions? I found old books. I needed to get away from there, Nerevar. There was too much. What now? What do we do now? Now that you're back. Yeah, well, if my deal with Grismus and the Raven Queen is to be believed, we just live our lives. They gave me that much. But I thought I would help these people out a little first if you can give me some time in this world. After that, whatever you want. Well, there is... He actually, grabs her shoulders and pushes her away a little so that he can look into her face. There is one matter that we need to discuss rather seriously. And, Cal rests his head on top of Lorana's, and you hear this soft little sad hum. He says, I know the one. Do we do that first? Nerevar says, let's help these people, and then we'll take care of that first, and then whatever you want. There's a long pause, and you see that she has grabbed him and pulled herself close again. She says, deal. He holds her tightly for a few minutes before extricating himself. He kisses her, and then he turns to the group, allowing her to stand behind him, out of view, so she can not show her tear-streaked face. Says, I owe all of you a debt of gratitude I don't know that I can fully repay. He looks at Nalia specifically. I don't know exactly what you had planned. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that it would all have come out eventually. I believe that Nalia and I will soon take our leave of this world, but before then, I'm working on something I think may help you in the future. So, Ms. Nalia, if you could allow me to continue utilizing your spare room for the next couple days at most, while I work out the formulations, I believe that it will help you keep this world spinning. Nalia nods more and more vigorously and says, yeah, sure, as long as you need. I'm glad you found each other.
I am also. It's really nice that we were able to find her, although I'm sad I didn't recognize her right away, or her name right away.
I don't know how involved you were. You were there, but, like, I don't think you need to feel you as a player. I don't think you as a player need to feel bad. Your character can if you want to.
My character does want to.
Okay.
I want to. Yeah.
Okay, no. That's fine then. I was just giving you assurances from a player standpoint then. He says,
nope.
I have visited hundreds of different dimensions, different material planes, different worlds, each of them massive and full to bursting with a variety of people and magics. I haven't bothered to rank them, if you're thinking I'm going to say this one is more this or that than another. But I believe that something more than simple chance was at work here. And I've been doing a thesis on such things, so thank you for the data point.
Well, I think it's a great thing.
You're doing a thesis on fate.
He's going to turn away from the group suddenly, and you see him help Lorana, take a seat on the pew. And, as he turns back and he strides back toward the group, you can see that Cal has remained with her. He is ministrating over her like a mother bird, preening the feathers of a infant. And Nerevar comes up to Yukikaze specifically, and he examines his right hand, which is soft and pale and small, but you can see calluses on his fingers and across the top of the palm from use of a sword. He says... He without looking up from his hand, he says quietly, "For whatever small part, thank you." And before he makes eye contact, his brilliant green eyes, solid orbs in their sockets, looking into yours, Yukikaze extends his hand to you. All of you are responsible for this happening.
Sends his hand for, like, in a handshaking fashion?
Yeah.
I'll shake it.
His hand is tiny in your palm. And you can feel that while there is strength in the palm, his knuckles are pronounced on the back. He is willowy and wiry and not thickly built. You don't know how old he is, but there is a frailty in touching him that isn't apparent simply looking at him. I will find a way to repay the debt. But while the journey has been unorthodox and interesting, it was an honor. Thank you. He gives your hand one last squeeze before moving to Leah and bending down.
Yes?
You have a difficult road ahead. Your family is engaged in a very dangerous goal. But I think that you have the power to hold them together and keep them alive.
I think I understand.
The spirit that I pulled from your armor is in Tharamil. He seems a good sort of fellow, and I think that his drive to protect things is one you should follow, and I know you intend to.
For sure.
He cocks a smile and reaches out a hand to place on your shoulder. Says, "Be careful and protect your family, and they will protect you."
I'm just gonna wrap my arm around them and give him a hug instead.
He's going to be a bit surprised for a moment, but he'll return the hug. I hope the information that I give to Nalia will be enough to help you. You were going to say something, I'm sorry.
Well, me?
Yeah, I thought I heard you start to say something.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say, just take care now. Take care of himself and her.
He'll release the hug, and you see that he's looking into the temple toward Lorana. Say, "Yeah, I will. We always
And don't let Cal get you into more trouble."
I don't know that there's any helping that. He's a good bird, though. You see his eyebrows suddenly raise, and he looks back at you with a very conspiratorial look. Says, "Don't tell him I said that." He's going to stand up. He's going to give you one last smile.
Please stand up. Please stand up.
And tussle your hair a little before stepping away. He's going to return to Nalia. Say, every world is different and beautiful in its own way, even the very primitive ones, so I hope that what I can give you will help you keep the people of this world alive. So, well, I'll give you my thanks again when it's time to leave, but for now, for this, thank you. And he extends his hand to Nalia, which she takes. She does not say anything in return, though. Lair, you are aware that, she doesn't seem quite capable.
Fair.
He comes to you and just says, when we first met, you had just had your mind blown by a lich.
Perhaps not the best first impression, I will admit.
When we first met, I looked at you as someone who could get me where I wanted to be. And little more. But in traveling with you, this last week or so, I have a great appreciation for what it is you do. You are very like Lorana. Always in search of knowledge and wanting to share it with others. She just wants to teach the world something new. And I have a great appreciation for that. So, in case we don't see each other again, though, I imagine unless you leave on the morrow, you'll be able to see us off. Thank you, and keep safe. Watch out for them. Knowledge is only valuable if there's still a world to share it with. Without breaking up in contact, he's going to slowly extend his hand for a handshake, seeming like he's not sure if you'll want to accept it.
He will.
He smiles.
And say thank you as hands are grasped.
He nods at you and smiles and says, I wanted you all to be part of this because you all had a hand in it. I've been looking for her for over 50 years, and every time I left a world, I worried that there was some corner or hidden place that I had not checked, that I might have missed her in passing. Every time I had that fear that there was somewhere, some question I didn't ask. Wondering if I would get to the end of the list of worlds that exist and still not have found her. I don't think I can express how glad I am that I did not have to learn just how vast the universe is. So, one last time, thank you all. Truly. And if you'll excuse us, He seems to struggle for more words, but just sort of tilts his head toward his wife. And then he turns on his heel and heads over to her, lifting Cal away and setting the Quetzal on his shoulder. Nalia says, "Well, I think now is as good a time as any to take our leave."
I will nod and then begin heading out.
You allow the doors of the temple to close behind you as the rain continues to drizzle and lighten, and the sky seems a little bit brighter gray. Zephyrius, leaning against a building with his arms folded across his chest, says, "I do not know what all of this was about, but if you're all done hugging each other, I believe that my people are waiting to be buried."
Indeed. Let us see to it.
Altogether, you board the wagon, now that it is loaded up with the necessary shrouds. There's room enough for people to ride, as it is made for logs. And you move back to the central square. Now, going to each of the bodies and properly wrapping them, splitting up into, at least teams of 2 to get it done. The whole project is going to take about 2 hours.
Seems reasonable.
I mean, because there are a number of you. And so you can split up around the palace. And then you can grab them. These last 2 over here are Sivan and the... Actually, there's one more.
Oh no, the drag 7 out. Did it get everything? Did it leave a trail?
Did it leave a trail? That's what the wrapping is for. The idea is that you wrap them before you move them.
All I'm gonna say, if that lizard thing was one of their pets, That's all Raiken. I ain't cleaning up that mess.
You all can decide what you want to do with the lizard thing.
I ain't touching it.
But
26 with the gnome thing. Plus the 2 mages and 7. No more. No more.
it's 37.
27.
Right,
Yeah.
35.
35.
35.
Yeah, 35 plus the mages and 7.
Which
I missed a roll.
means that my count last time was good, which is a good thing I did it twice, because we had said 38, and that is 35, and 3 is 38, just like I said.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I missed a row. So, my bye.
That's okay. So, there's 35 denizens of the Underdark, and 7 and the 2 mages from the Assassin's Guild. Now, you've only agreed to do anything special for the denizens of the Underdark. You can tell me what you want done with 7 and the Assassin's Guild mages.
Use the situation as peacefully as possible if we can.
Being adventurous, all we could really do is just confront them and try to talk more.
If someone wants to give me one of the squawk boxes, I can go do my best to keep tabs on them while you discuss things with Claire, since she's currently the ruling power once trying to arrest them.
The pact you signed with me says that you are going to make all of the people of this city understand that they are to live peacefully with my people. It means that you will need to teach them, show them how to live with us. He puts a finger over your heads and sweeps it in a semicircle around. And as you follow his finger, you do see that there are people outside of their houses, in the streets, and with open windows looking down upon you. He says, all of these people have watched what you did today. They know that my people are being treated like their own. My people are being taken to the Temple of the Raven Queen to receive the same burial ceremony any other citizen of this city would receive. That is going to say a lot. And they watched you dress and move the bodies. So now they know to associate you with this movement. That is the kind of unity you must build on. I can't tell you what to do with the surface dwellers that live here. If you think that killing them will make things better, it is up to you to uphold your promise to me. But I know that killing people to make a point is what Loth would do.
Killing them is not what I had in mind.
Yeah, that really wouldn't help anybody in any way.
Hopefully we can talk to them and try and talk them out of it. Not perhaps try and throw them in a cell and get them to cool off.
Well, You haven't had a chance to gather the people and talk to them about Illustray. That is still a course of action that you can undertake.
True. Perhaps that should be our next attempt.
These, drow still seem to be patrolling the area, and as they walk by, you do catch these, red and purple-eyed glares from them for a moment, and then they, eyes still hard, seem to nod at you with whoever among you they happen to be making eye contact with before they continue on.
We're still
Right.
continuing moving the body, right? Or is that completely done now?
I've moved the bodies over there, but this conversation could happen before they've been moved.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So imagine that you have a wagon full of bodies at this moment that you're getting ready to move to the,
Or en route and talking.
That also could work, yeah. Rather than just move back and forth because it's such a large city.
So say decides not against us keeping tabs on them because we should still finish the task at hand before we can't just leave what we're doing. And also I'll be kind of looking to speak, like saying this to everyone who's in the vicinity.
I think, for Sarge, we should try and get the people of the city gathered to watch the burial for those who haven't seen what we've done. And when we have them gathered, we try and talk to them about Illustray.
You wish for the burial ceremony to be made public. An interesting ploy.
Is that something that is fine with you?
It does not insult these men. If you think that it will be useful in building the unity that my people who still live seek, then I would say that it is acceptable.
I think it can be. I think it would serve a similar, if not the same purpose as them seeing us help wrap and move the bodies of your fallen comrades.
Just be certain not to offend the followers of the Raven Queen. Remember, these men are being buried in her name.
True. I suppose I should act. Such a thing is acceptable there.
Not all of these men whom you killed were followers of Illustray, but some of them were. It could do to inform the priests performing the ceremony so that they can be properly guided by the Raven Queen.
I will see what I can do.
As the group of guards moves off, ahead down the street, he kind of grins and nods toward them and says, "It seems that you are making an impression on my people who had their doubts. That is a good thing."
Good. The more people we have on our side, regardless of whose side they started on, the better.
This will be a project.
One I intend to work on.
When we are finished with the funeral rites, I had been hoping that I might have some of your time or one of your companions' time to go and begin speaking to members of various clerical orders. feel that explaining to them Illustre's goals and domains could be useful in disseminating that information to the other citizens.
He nods and says, slowly, I will accompany you. I am willing to do whatever it takes to make my people safe in this city. And I believe that you are right, and that informing other orders of clerics of Illustre and her goals will help this city come to understand us and accept us much faster. When you return to the temple and help move the bodies inside, Oraska the Tiefling is there. Nerevar and Lorana are no longer visible. He indicates that you should help him lay out the bodies over here. He says, I don't have the slabs for all of these men, but I can perform the rites even on the floor. And he looks quickly to Zephyrius and says, it is not seen as a disrespect, merely an inconvenience to the ritualist. Pray, he turns to you with the barest hint of a smile, pray for my back. Connect 4. Done. Alright. Now then, with this many, if I focus only on the Drow and the Darrow, I should be able to have all of them consecrated by early this evening, I think. I just need a few minutes with each of the bodies for that, but cleaning them up will take time.
Well, if there's anything we could do to help, just let us know. Or at least me, I'd be willing to help.
There is something that you can help me with that would speed the process along.
Also, before I forget, we were also asked to state that some of these people were followers of
Illustre
and Loki. I can't say.
Lolth?
Lolth. Yes. Illustrate, and some might be Wolf also. There's just no way to tell.
They will be given, as all are, to the Raven Queen. Is there some reason you want me to mention any other gods?
No, I was just told to... Or, I don't know much of the rituals. I didn't know if that was information you needed.
Zephyrius is going to nudge you and say, public ceremony.
Oh. Also, forgive me, I do have one more question.
It's actually related.
Okay. Would it be disrespectful or be bad if we had some of the public attend, or a majority of public attend?
You wish to call the citizens of Volinar here to witness this ceremony?
if that is okay.
I am all for it. It is, however, highly unusual.
Well,
Perhaps find yourself intrigued of death? Can I share with you the knowledge of the Raven Queen?
It's something I do not wish to think about. Well, it is something I do think about right now because of the situation, but not at this time.
Pity. Then who will be helping me with the task at hand?
Before we answer that, there is one thing my companion here forgot in regards to your question as to if we wanted you to mention Elistray specifically for some reason. We do. Because if it's going to be public like we intend, we want the people of this city to know that not all of these drow serve law.
So, he says, rubbing one of his eyes with a single finger. You wish for me to commit these souls to Illustray via the Raven Queen, and not Loth.
Yes, if you... There are some who are of this group that are followers, but as I said, it's not exactly easy to tell at this point which is which.
I can commit them to whomever you wish, because it matters little what I say in the eyes of the Raven Queen. Their soul has already borne out the truth of their devotion, and she has brought them where they belong. This ceremony is for the comfort of the living, to understand the necessity and inescapability of death. So, if according to you it is better to mention this Illustray and not Loth, then I can do that.
Thank you. One last request. As Illustray is not a deity many are familiar with, it is my intention to try and share that the drow that are still in the city follow her and what the difference is, since we will have the people gathered here for the ceremony anyway. Would that be alright, or would that be disrespectful?
Tell me what it is you want me to say about this goddess.
That she is not law. She... Excuse me. She seeks to guide the drow to the surface, in harmony with those that live there. Am I right so far, Zephyrius?
Zephyrius, once again, in his now classic pose with his arms folded across his chest and his weight on his back leg, looks down at you with red eyes and says, "Yes, that is true of Illustray. You could mention that she is the estranged daughter of Loth, and that is why she commits herself to the plight of the drow. But she does not worship pain and suffering as her spider mother."
If required, I will relay that to the priest.
No, he was saying it out loud.
Alright.
He just nods at you and says, "Go on. Show him that you know who the Dark Maiden is."
Out of character, I'm drawing a blank, I'm sorry. Kind of shot myself in the foot here. Since I can't remember, could I, roll history or something? I'm sorry. Religion. Alright. Not as good at that, but not terrible. Do I have inspiration? No.
Can I?
think you got some for recognizing Lorana. What's up?
I was gonna say I don't want Cyrus to shoot himself in the foot because I want everything to go smoothly. I have an inspiration I can give him if it's allowed. I can use my inspiration to inspire him.
Go for it.
I will do so.
Much better. It went from a 4 on die to an 18.
Okay. Yeah, you rosebud this guy. You give the information that was given to you by Zephyrius, plus the information he added. And when you finish, the Tiefling Orasker nods and says, "Very well. I can commit a portion of the sermon to that. Admittedly, Illustrae is not a goddess I am familiar with. Is this something that the other temples are going to be informed of?"
I believe that's one of our next objectives, yes.
Very well. Well, I can draw up some documents so that we have a record of this interaction and see if we can't add the name here to the list of gods souls may be devoted to. Now then, who is going to help me with the task at hand? The Dragonborn told me that he would help, but then said he was not interested.
Oh, I didn't. I don't know, how detailed a discussion. I don't mind listening while helping, but just to sit down and discuss it would be a whole different thing.
You will learn of devotion to the Raven Queen through the work that you will help me with. He sweeps an arm behind him and says, "All of these bodies must be prepared for the ceremony. Physically."
That's just be talking about cleaning and stuff, right?
We need to undress them, address their wounds, and make them presentable for the ceremony. Remember that this is for the benefit of the living. Then we will place them in the ceremonial linens, and I will perform a rite for each of them before we move them out. It would save me a great deal of time and effort if some of you could help with the removal of garments and weapons. I can show you how to deal with the wounds.
We don't have to, take everything off, do we?
He blinks at you, his solid blue eyes. Yes, everything must be removed. The bodies must be prepared.
No. I'll shut her a little.
Afraid of some Drellcock.
This is what it means to face death and look it in the eye. I do not normally ask this of people who bring their dead to the Temple of the Raven Queen, but as you have brought so many and asked so much, and it was you who generated them, I feel it is fair to ask this, and the Raven Queen empowers me to do so.
I'm gonna do it. It's just, sorry. Just,
Will it be enough, or would more help be required?
Many hands make light work, halfling.
And I shall do what I can.
Oh,
I
this is,
will help as well.
Excellent. You can start on that end. He points over here. And I will start on this end.
should we, kind of just justify, did anyone not want to help? Maybe we should go spread the word of getting people here to, shouldn't, seem forceful, say, we would like to do this, we would be interested, or would like for people to come bear witness. Is there any of you guys that would be willing to go out there and do that and also keep an eye on things?
I do not believe that we should all be here to be assisting with that if we are intending to wrangle up the other citizens, or as many of them as possible. I can assist with that responsibility if that's what we want.
I can help with wrangling people.
Well, we have 3 tasks currently to deal with. Assisting the... What's the name of the cleric? I'm sorry.
Orasker.
Helping Orasker with the bodies. Making people aware of the public ceremony that will be taking place. And then the other issue we discussed on our way. If that's just what we're going to try and deal with, I cannot stay behind to help. And it does seem like it might be most present.
Do you believe that we should begin there with our discussions to see who will want to attend?
Sure.
Perhaps you can get some of the people who he's instigating to change their minds. You take away his base.
Their meeting.
I believe that had been the implication. So Raiken and I will be going to discuss with them, and others and everyone else shall be here assisting the clerics.
Do you know where it is, or do I need to come to direct you?
You can explain to me where it is, or you can come and help
I don't have
make the
specifics.
arguments. Then it's probably best for you to come with us.
Yeah.
So who is staying here to help with bodies? I know that it's Yukikaze and Vendar now.
I'll help with the bodies.
Okay. Leah as well. Any others? Last call.
Jebel?
Just trying to think. What help would a 3-foot tall person be?
Well, this process that he's asked you to help with is removing clothing and cleaning and dressing wounds.
Even a small
Okay.
child would be able to help.
None of that
Yeah.
would be hindered by your size.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Okay.
Are we allowed to use prestidigitation, or is that unrespectful?
It's acceptable.
Because that will make things way quicker.
For cleaning, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the rest of you, I'm going to double check with Raiken here. You want to go with the others and deal with the citizenry?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then, we will go and roleplay that. For you guys here, I will tell you that what's going to happen over the course of the next few hours of the day is going to be removal, which includes simply pulling off or cutting away of clothing to expose the flesh, for cleaning, which can be done either physically or with prestidigitation, whoever is administrating over the particular body. And then Orasker will be following along to each body as it is finished to dress them and perform a rite. He will give instruction on how to close open wounds and clean them. So everybody who is here doing this will be able to have advantage on medicine checks for dressing wounds in the field.
Nice.
I know those aren't made frequently, but you're learning something from this priest. I believe there's a way to customize the skill check so that you tell the sheet that you get advantage.
Though, if you use custom dice, you mean? No, like the online die.
Right, no, but like you should be able to put the advantage marker on there.
Yeah.
And it's specifically for administering field medicine.
You can add custom skills.
Can you add training to it? Maybe that's enough.
Can I add a proficient, not proficient, half proficient, proficient,
Yeah,
expertise?
proficient is fine. And if you were already proficient in heal, then change it to expertise.
Medicine, you mean?
Yeah,
What did I do?
medicine.
Ooh, jeez, that's no. Ooh, somehow I actually overruled my skill and gave myself a 0 instead of a +4.
Nice. Perfect. You got it.
Well, it's also possible to choose half proficient for some reason.
So how do I change that?
If you just click on it, a box will open on the right, and up at
Yeah.
the top it's just got like customize.
Yeah, you can do skill overrides,
I went
magic
from +2 to
bonus.
+6. That was...
There you go. See?
Right.
There was a benefit.
So
to
we're
it.
proficient.
Yeah. You're proficient in heal. In
Aha, medicine.
medicine.
I've gone from +4 to a +8
There you go.
Wow.
with the wisdom.
Alright. So, you guys
I am very wise.
want to...
Jebble the White.
Jebble the Wise.
You guys that want to deal with the citizenry, what is the plan?
Cyrus just stepped away.
Fade to black. Cut back to Civil War. You get negative proficiency. Every charisma.
So we're dealing with the guy and whatever his group is first? Or are we dealing, like, trying to, like, get people to go to the ceremony?
I'm back.
Could do both.
I believe that we know the general direction of that meeting, but we can stop places to invite people along the way.
I think we should do that.
Okay. So, describe to me what it is that you are hoping to do, to say, the kind of place stops you want to make.
I'll leave that up to them. I'll mostly be concentrating on trying to get in contact with Familiar so that I know we're close.
Nalia?
What?
Did you say
He
get in
said
touch?
leave it up to them.
Right. But I thought he then said because he was concentrating on trying to get in touch with Nalia.
No, it's familiar?
With my Familiar.
Oh, the familiar. Okay, so please just tell me, like, the types of places that you want to stop and the types of people you want to talk to and the types of things you want to say.
I mean, stop at what look to be major buildings.
Okay.
Which Nalia should be able to help us figure out what they are.
Well, there are the 4 major temples here. The Temple of Bahamut, Pelor, Kord, and Ione.
So of course we'd hit all 4 of those.
Sorry. This one should be... Huh. I know what I'll do. We'll do this. Background layer. Grab red. Do one of these jobbers. There we go. Whoa, that's not right. This. Background. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do this. There we go. And this... Okay. There we go. So, those are the temples. Bahamut, Pelor, Kord, Ione, and Arathis. Which seem to be the major pantheon of Bromdor. So you're going to stop at each of those and tell them what kind of thing. Just want to know what the rosebud is.
That there'll be a special ceremony at the Temple of the Raven Queen.
Okay. And Laramendis, will this include an explanation of who Illustrae is?
Yes, and he will is a brief discussion, and then Laramendis will make sure to inform people that he intends to spend more time here afterwards to have more in-depth conversations if any clerics so choose. I imagine more of Ione is going to take him up on that.
Yeah, definitely.
But
he'll be there with books at the ready.
He'll give the spark notes now, and then be like, and there's more that we can discuss, and any questions that might be had that aren't answered by discussions there or here can be later.
All right then. Outside of that, you notice that, for the most part, the mercantile district is quiet and empty. The inns and taverns to the east are quiet and dark right now. All of this makes sense given the state that the city was just recently in. Which means that if you really want to, like, find people to talk to, you're gonna need to, like, stop at homes and, like, perhaps the mansions of the rich, if that's the kind of people you want to hit up with this.
I mean, we do want to try to reach as many people as we can.
Yeah. So the aristocracy is going to have, large families and a lot of influence. If your goal is to start to change people's minds about things, you're going to need to start with the people who make the rules. But, the rest of the city up here is all, the peasantry, the non-aristocracy, and there are many of them as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you can pick a few important places to hit. Remember that there's several hours before the people will be done treating the bodies. So you can just say, we're going to hit some aristocracy, we're going to hit some peasantry, we're going to see who we can find in the mercantile district.
I would do all that, because I think we need at least some from each area, and then hopefully that will filter, those people then filter through the information to the rest.
Alright, so Raiken, the big dragonborn, will take the lead on dealing with the not temples, as this is something you view as you might need a little more of an intimidation factor. Let people know this is happening, this is important, and you're going to be there. So, you spend a couple hours doing that, and eventually make your way back over toward the mercantile district, because that is where you had been told that Cyrus had contact with his familiar. Hitting this area last. And so it is, as you're moving through here, telling the couple shop owners that are manning their shops in spite of, low customer turnout in light of recent events, is when, Cyrus, you're going to hear from your dove.
Yep.
You're going to hear in your mind, "Ah, there you are. You should come quickly, that's getting a little rowdy."
Where are you?
There's a long pause before you hear, "North of you and west, in among the buildings on one of the back streets.
Okay,
Look for a pottery shop."
Alright. I'll say, we need to hurry. I've just talked to my familiar. Apparently things are getting a bit, rowdy. They are to the northwest near a pottery shop. Does that ring any bells, Nalia?
Nalia puts a hand to her chin, thinks for a moment, and says, "Well, there are a number of potters in the mercantile district. However, if it's northwest of where we are now, I think there's one big one I know, yeah. Follow me." And she leads you in, and eventually the sounds of hooting, hollering, cheering, and chanting echo their way down the narrow streets among the wooden buildings, the wooden and canvas buildings to you. I can actually do you the favor of actually putting some of the... oh, gosh darn it. Putting some of these in. Just go... these, try and show that there are some road-like things here. Buildings of different sizes. So these wider gaps here are going to be treated like roads. So, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Let's quickly do a couple more up here, just kind of flush it out. Oops. There we go. Okay, so, you know, you make your way down some roads, pathways from the main road over to here. And what you find is a group of people kind of filling up the area. Here. Right? And your man, Chad, is, you know, around here in the central area. And he is very quick, very obviously, whipping up the crowd's emotions and telling them, you know, we're not gonna tolerate these adventurers, these outsiders coming into our city and, you know, saying that we have to live with these murderers and these kidnappers and these dangerous followers of Lolth. That, you know, they're not going to give up their way of life to make these dangerous people comfortable. And the people around him are cheering him on, agreeing, you know, letting out their hoots and hollers after every one of his, you know, we're gonna drive them back to the Underdark or kill them where they stand and all that. And you can see that, you know, some people have, they have, like, lanterns with them, holding those up for light as you're working your way into later evening. And a lot of people have, you know, broom handles and, you know, shovels or pitchforks. Some of these farmers, perhaps from outside the walls of the city, are here lending their voices to this rally. And you come upon this, and the people who are out here, who are, you know, straining to hear what he's shouting over the crowd, don't really seem to notice you at first, or seem to think of you as just more, ralliers. Before the nearest ones look over, like trying to understand why you're getting so close, and recognize you. So as that begins to happen with the nearest people, what are you going to do? What action do you want to take? They seem like they're not going to react well. Like they might be about to shout about your presence.
I would like to use minor illusion this time.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it sound like a very loud voice shouting quiet, but, louder than my voice could actually.
Can minor illusion do that? I know that thaumaturgy can do that.
It can make sound. It's not meant to amplify a voice, so I'm technically not speaking.
Right.
But it can mimic my own voice, I believe.
Does it say how loud it can be? Like megaphone loud or what?
If you create a sound, its volume can range from a whisper to a scream. It can be your voice, someone else's voice, a lion's roar, a beating of drums, or any other sound you choose.
Okay, so
sound
I mean,
continues unabated throughout the duration, or you can make discrete sounds at different times before the spell ends.
yeah. So I mean, it could be as loud as, say, the booming voice of a dragonborn, since it can go up to a scream and it doesn't really specify whose.
Alright.
But like, thaumaturgy would be able to produce a much louder noise.
Well, I don't have that.
But you can do that if you want. What do you want it to scream?
Just quiet. Like the word.
Okay. You create this sound that screams, "Quiet!" over the crowd, and the nearest people to you do, like, turn startled and look at this quieting down, and the quiet kind of ripples out a little ways, but you can feel how it definitely doesn't reach the other side of the crowd. It gets lost in the din, but the ripple continues a little way. And so now there's, people maybe up to, almost the middle here, now are kind of turning and looking at you very, very confused, and, that they were just told quiet. They look a little angry. And they kind of start to put it together. They recognize Nalia. And then the closest people to you, while the rest of the rally is still a din of cheers and hoots and hollers and screams, the closest people to you kind of move a little closer, kind of giving Nalia the stink eye, and the rest of you, just passing their eye over you, say, "What do you want?"
Since that wasn't loud enough, I guess it's time to go back to what I did last time.
I mean, you do have the attention of a portion of the crowd.
Yeah, but I kind of need the attention of all of the crowd. So, I'm gonna cast Shatter in the air again.
Are you sure you want that? Nalia says, "They outnumber us 100 to 1.
Fair point.
I love a good challenge.
I believe if we talk with those closest to us, then that might carry over and we might be able to win them, as opposed to just scaring them repeatedly.
We're not gonna be intimidated by you. We're not gonna let you take this city from us and give it to those damn drow. That's all Lolth wants, is to take the surface, and they're not gonna start their invasion here. This is my home. This is our home."
You're right. They're not going to start their invasion here, because they don't serve Lolth. No. Dang it, I can never get that to come out of my mouth right.
You're just a bunch of drow sympathizers. What are you, followers of Lolth now yourselves?
No, I am a follower of Corellin. I would never serve Lorth, to my dying breath, these drow that you're so bent on killing or running out of the city serve a god called Elistray, one who seeks to have them come to the surface in harmony with those already on it, not to destroy it.
A woman speaks up from the crowd. Is that the lie they've been feeding you? Sounds like the same goal, just dressed up nice.
It's not the same goal. They are nearly polar opposites. One wants the destruction of everything up here. One wants to join it. And it is no lie. That I can verify.
Illustray is just some mishmash words you made up. Why should we listen to any of this?
Out of character, I don't really have an argument for that off the top of my head, other than
I'm
intimidation,
trying to
which I
think
don't
of
want
one.
to do.
I can assure you that the deity is not something that we have fabricated from whole cloth. If you would wish, you may speak with the clerics at the Temple of Ione, and I'm sure many of them would be more than happy to point you at references, although some of them are going to be obscure.
And just who the hell are you, anyway?
I am a servant of Ione.
He looks up at the bobbing ball of light over your head, and he gestures with his hand, which holds a trowel in it. What the hell is that thing? You come to threaten us with magic?
Would it help for him to speak in any way?
I don't know. Do you think it would? The guy hasn't tried to stab you with his trowel yet, so I mean, I guess that's progress.
That's true. No, I mean, ask Ash to speak.
No, I know what you mean.
Okay.
I meant seriously, like, he hasn't tried to stab you with his trowel, so he's clearly doing some listening here.
I will gesture up at Ash and say, Ash is a companion for me, a companion to help me serve Ione to the best of my abilities. He serves as a repository of knowledge and helps to collect the knowledge that I come across such that it might be shared.
In response, Ash is going to alter the glow on his surface such that it mimics the symbol of Ione, the half-eye. And the man's going to kind of look at this very warily, and all the people around him are kind of take notice. Several people, like, putting a hand to the side of their face, like, in disbelief. Say, you're really a follower of Ione, and you're going to speak on behalf of them? He says, stabbing the trowel in the direction of Zephyrius.
I am both a follower of Ione and an elf, and I am speaking on their behalf.
To mention the champion of Ione, last I checked.
That has never been stated.
No?
No, he is a scholar.
I thought that was part of... Alright, then I won't have said that.
The title that's always been used is just scholar.
Scholar. Alright, then I won't have said that.
Okay.
Because that was just my misremembering then.
Not everyone here is a champion. In fact, the only champion you have is Raiken. Yuki Kaze hasn't claimed a title of champion of Bahamut.
Well, I mean, technically he did.
Did he? Am I forgetting?
When we were trying to spook the dragon.
Oh. yeah, okay. That's right, that was part of your plan.
In
in Tuca.
seriousness and in, like, earnestness, I would say probably not. But technically,
Yeah. Nope.
that's neither here nor there, though.
Sure. Are you clad in full and intimidating armor, Alex? Or...
Oh, yes, I am.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Raiken has still never taken the armor off. So.
I see. The armor, just so that you're aware, does draw looks because it does not have the appearance of normal forged armor. Like, it doesn't look natural. There are parts of it that are just no explanation for how they could have been made using the current technology in smithing and forging. So, you know, he does look upon this, and the people here are now giving your group more attention. They're noticing Ash, they're noticing the details. They see that Zephyrius is here, and so now they really kind of seem to be taking in this massive Dragonborn with his alien armor. And
the explanation is magical girl.
They don't know that yet.
Just say, why do you want to do this to us? We've been living safely, keeping the drow at bay for all these years. Now you want to change that?
This is not something we're doing to you. It's something we're doing for you.
We don't want this!
With is the word you wanted there.
You can't do a thing for people if they don't want it done. Then it's for you.
You don't want this done because you are used to not being attacked by the drow. This can still have that same effect, but not only for you, but for the rest of the world. Imagine a world no longer raided by the drow, no longer attacked by the citizens of the Underdark.
And how could a thing like that happen with a god like Loth commanding them?
By taking them away from Loth and leading them into the light of Illustray, or Harel, or whoever else they desire to follow. All she is cruel. She hasn't done a single thing for them. There are many who would leave her if given the chance.
And how do you know this isn't all a lie that he's told you? He again stabs his trowel in the direction of Zephyrius. The people around him. Yeah, it could be a lie.
One of the many things I can do is read minds. And there's nothing he can hide from me.
At this, like, a couple eyebrows raise, and some whispers are shared around through this portion of the crowd in front of you. That still really just, you have this small bubble of people who are deigning to speak with you, while the rest are still enthralled by Chad. And finally, an older man speaks up and says, "Read mine, son?"
Yes, that is what I said.
And then, what did I have for breakfast?
I will cast Detect Thoughts.
Okay. He's, thinking about 3 eggs, glass of milk, and a piece of stale bread.
Before answering the question, I'll say, whatever you do, don't think about what you had for breakfast.
He's already thinking.
Alright, well, I can't
But that's
sure
fine.
if it's not...
That's fine. You can say
There's
it.
a chance he could be thinking of something specifically different.
Sure.
To try and throw me off and make a point.
It's fair.
And so then I'll say exactly what do you have for breakfast.
As you read it off, you can also feel his thoughts straying to other foods here and there. As he seems a little scared by your statement before, he starts thinking about a lot of different things, but you read off what he was thinking about. And he says, That's pretty impressive. That's what I was thinking about. So, I don't know. Gov, he starts like tapping at the man who's been giving you such a hard time. Says, "What were you gonna have for dinner? Think about it. See if it's real." And Goff kinda rolls his eyes and sighs. "I don't know what this is gonna prove." But he starts thinking about a spit roast pig with a honey glaze.
And I'll go through the same process with him once again, try to avoid the possibility of being tricked so that I can't be refuted.
He changes to 3 well-cooked steaks and a glass of wine.
That's a lot of steak.
You see in his mind as a red-headed woman places them on the table before him before sitting down to share them with him.
So I will... Excuse me. So then I will respond with, there were 3 steaks and a glass of wine, and you had them with, and then I'll, describe the person he was having dinner with in detail.
The old man just sort of whistles and says, "That ain't your wife, Goff." Man immediately turns around and says, "Shut up, old-timer." Right? So you can read minds.
I figured that might be the case, but that was fun for me.
And you believe what you see dancing around in his, and that it's not got to do with love.
I do. Every action they have taken has also gone to this point, ever since they've been given a chance to be something else, anything else.
He's going to step out from the crowd, and the people around him are going to kind of like put their hands out, like, "Wait, hold on." And he waves them away, and he moves past you. He kind of eyeballs Lair as he walks past and kind of tilts back and gives a little bit of a wider berth to Raiken as he passes. He seems to be trying to read your eyes through the visor of your armor. But he does not look sure of himself at this point, and he slowly approaches Zephyrius and Drow. And you can see he looks back toward the other people in the crowd who are shaking their heads at him. And he turns to Zephyrius and says, "I don't know about all of the drow that have been taken. I figure they've got a lot of untended anger that they'd want to take out on this city. But these guys say they read your mind and that that isn't what you intend. You're going to have a hard time convincing all the people, especially these people," points, "that that's the case." And you can see he's like keeping a safe distance between him and Zephyrius. And Zephyrius is just sort of side-eyeing him with his arms folded over his chest, listening to what he says. But he kind of brings one hand up and looks at it for a little while. The hand with the trowel, he's looking at the trowel. And he transfers it to his left hand. And very hesitantly begins reaching his now empty hand toward Zephyrius. Says, "If if you can take my hand and tell me that this mind reader is not lying to me, well, I'm still gonna keep my distance, but I'll go home.
And Zephyrius, with his arms still folded, kind of turns his red eyes towards you guys, raises his eyebrows. You can read this hint of shock, and he finally, kind of very slowly and casually, turns toward the man and says, "The people with me just want to live in peace in this city. We cannot return to the Underdark. And the ones who still live do not wish to kill you. That is the promise I can make to you. That is what will push me to take your hand." Goff, kind of, as he began speaking, not expecting common, like pulls his hand back a little, and then kind of tenses up and slowly relaxes and says, he looks back toward you, Cyrus, looking for confirmation.
I'll give it. Yeah, it's true.
Alright. I don't know what's happening, or how this is all gonna shake out, but I'll stay out of it. I'm gonna go see to my family, and he's going to put his hand forward again, and Zephyrius is going to grasp his upper arm, just as he did to each of you, and it takes the man by surprise. He kind of tries to pull back a little, and Zephyrius gets close to him and says, "This will be the spark that sets the world ablaze. We will find a way to bring my drow to the surface in peace. We will defeat Loth as a union." He lets the man go and steps back. And the other people in the crowd near you watch this happening. And quickly somebody steps forward and says, Goff, are you okay?" And he is like examining his arm for like any injury or punctures. He goes, "No, I'm fine. Get the others. We don't need to be here." We're like, Are you serious? Just like that?" He looks at the group again, his eyes lingering on the imposing Dragonborn, and says, Yeah, just like that. And all told, about 15 people are going to gather up and scamper away, clearly talking about what just happened.
I would like to insight.
Sure.
I'm not gonna bother. I can't invite to save my life.
You can read minds.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's
That
still
is better.
I'll just
like
do that.
super
'Cause
insight.
That's still active. I forgot that was still on. My bad.
My passive insight is a 14.
Okay. Clearly all of them are very shaken, and uncertain entirely what happened. A bunch of the people leaving are leaving because Goff told them to, more than that they believe that the drow are, that these particular drow are not a threat. But you know that Goff has been truthful, at least as far as you can tell. He has spoken his truth. and while he is trying to reserve judgment just in case it's wrong to trust you, he has chosen to trust you.
Mm-hmm.
He was presented with an amount of evidence that Chad can't match. And that's more for Cyrus. You know that he's weighing what he's just experienced and finding that a scholar of Ione, the archmage of the city, this horrifying dragonborn in his terrifying armor, and the drow himself it speaks more to his rational mind than Chad has been able to speak to his emotions.
Got it. I carry no weight. Kidding.
The drow's words would have had no meaning if you didn't have the person telling you that he could read the deeper thoughts. That was kind of his big contention, was that the drow's a liar, and at the end of this, he went by the drow's word.
Yep. Woo! That's one down. Now I have 599 more to go.
How has the rest of the crowd been reacting to us having this discussion at the back, pulling people away? I'm sure it hasn't gone unnoticed by Chad if he's keeping an eye on the whole crowd.
As you begin to form this cavity in his crowd, I will put that here. There we go. As people clear out, either by being convinced by your words or following their friends and family as they are pulled away by those who have been convinced, Chad does take notice and try to direct some ire at you, and the crowd kind of squeezes in around you as you continue pushing toward his platform. And he says, "These people, right here, are the ones who want you to give up your safety and your lives so that the followers of Lolth can live here comfy."
None of that is true.
Really? And
I do not ask you to give up your lives. I do not ask you to give up your safety, and they are not followers of Lolth.
as you can see, they've already been fooled or mind-controlled by these drow.
They have no such abilities. And I am no fool.
And I am no man. The crowd is still with him, however. Whether or not it's because they know anything about drow is irrelevant. He clearly has them whipped up emotionally and is presenting arguments that speak to them more than your denials.
Man, I'd kill for the calm emotions right about now.
I think that we should start by removing these people from the city because they want to fool us or kill us so that the drow can have it.
I don't want to fool you or kill you. All I want to do is make a world that's no longer raided by the denizens of the Underdark. That's safe and lives in harmony with those who come from it, in a world where Lolth no longer lives. She has been defeated as just nothing more than a bad memory.
You hear this ridiculousness, people? He wants you to believe that there's some alternative to Lolth down there, She's the only one giving them orders, and those orders are to come here and live here in our homes, on our food, at the cost of our lives.
There is an alternative. Her estranged daughter, Elestray. One who desires to lead the Drow to the surface in peace, not in war or destruction.
That's what you bring? Some fairy tale?
It is no fairy tale.
These people want proof, then.
The Temple of Ione has stories that can point to her. If you want proof, you should be able to find some there. If you want something more immediate, Scholar, do you have anything on hand?
Scar.
I said scholar.
Scholar.
Laramendus.
Yes. I will state that the crowd, while it did encroach back around you as you whipped them up, it did keep their distance, and the people nearest by are warily eyeing the armored dragonborn and the glowing orb over your head.
Sam is unsure what proof Cyrus thinks that he is currently in possession of.
Well, you had said, like, just a minute ago that there was evidence, like, in stories at the Temple of Ione.
I'm sure there's documentation at the Temple of Ione, but we're not at the Temple of Ione.
Yeah, so I said, if you need something more immediate, Scholar, do you have anything?
If anyone would follow me to the Temple of Ione, then we may talk with the clerics and find the appropriate documents, and we can have ourselves a little history lesson.
Scholar. They've managed to turn a follower of Ione to their cause. Do you see how dangerous they are?
They're not the ones plotting to kill the people in this city. As far as I can tell, that's you. You're the only one here seeking any form of destruction. The only form of danger.
I am protecting my home, and these people are here to do the same. They see the danger that the Drow pose. Every ruler of Bromdor has maintained the Drow workforce as a warning against raiders. That is what will happen if you try to take from this city.
And so what? You want to run or kill off your protection? What sense does that make? These Drow, if allowed to stay in the city and treated as citizens, as equals, can be shown and show other Drow that wish to raid this place that there is another way. A way out from Loth's cruelty. So that they do not need to attack. That they can simply leave in peace. Do you think they want to be down there in the dark, being beaten daily? Having to fend for every scrap that they can? No. They're people. People that want a life.
They're Drow. The only thing they want is what their god tells them to want, and she wants the surface.
And what I'm telling you is that is not the god they serve. Not once they have a choice. These Drow in particular, at the very least, have shown me that if they are given a choice.
Shouts back. I'm scared for these people losing their homes and their lives to your new friends.
To
And
anyone who's been watching, they've not acted aggressively in any way since they've been given an opportunity. They want freedom from the Underdark. If given that chance, none of you will be in danger from them. If anything, they may be what ends up saving you.
And you speak for all the Drow? All of them want that? Really?
All of the ones here.
In his mind, you can see that he doesn't believe you. But what is boiling to the surface more is that he's worried about losing the crowd to your words, because he can only whip up so much fervor.
Alright, so it sounds like it's a test of stamina. Say. Before coming here, like my group, along with Zephyrius here, gathered all of his drow, and we talked to each and every one of them, seeing who would want this and who would not. There were a select few who did not, and they were escorted from the city and removed. All that remains are those who wish for freedom on the surface, in peace with those of you here.
He looks wildly around at the crowd. And he's like, well, obviously they're using their same underhanded tricks. The cover of night, and in this case, the cover of your compassion. They're just going to wait until we trust them enough, and then they're going to slit our throats in our beds.
Even if they wanted to do such a thing, which they do not, we will protect you. As we will protect any citizen of this city, which includes them.
He latches onto that quickly and says, see? If they really trusted what these drow said, why would they feel the need to protect us from them? They know that they can't trust them.
We can. As I said to said and proved to the group that left, I can read minds and know what they say is true. They cannot hide things from me.
Somebody nearby starts asking what you mean by that, and Chad cuts him off and says, but you can hide things from us! And you want to. You're working with them. You're worried about them and not us.
What reason would I have to hide things from you? All I'm trying to do is convince you of the truth.
We're also...
I literally just said why you would hide things from us. Go ahead.
We're trying to work with both of you. However, you're being more hostile than the drow are.
We, he says, spreading his arms magnanimously, are being proactive in our own defense. They're laying a trap. One they've already snared you in. We won't be so foolish.
So, let's just say you got what you wanted, and you managed to get the drow out of the city. What then? If they are laying a trap, then they have greater numbers. Your best chance is to have them here. Because they are the only thing left to defend you if any others tried to come. Your guards are gone. They are your last line of defense.
He seems to darken at that. Says, convenient, isn't it? Almost like you arranged it that way.
We arranged nothing of the kind.
But how can you convince these people that the walls around them would not be effective? We can man those. It's the enemy within the walls that you cannot stop.
Really? You can man the walls with trowels and pitchforks?
Yeah, you can. That's why walls are great.
You know the Drow have made it into the city before. What could stop them from doing it again?
That hasn't happened in decades.
Because they were here as a deterrent, and now they can be still. But not as a deterrent. As a way to show the Drow of the Underdark that there is another way. That they can live in harmony. Because the only reason the other Drow of Zephyrius' group left is because they weren't sure if they could trust you. If that can be established, Loth will have no one left to serve her.
He broods silently for a few moments, trying to read the crowd. And finally says, people of Volinar, you've now heard both sides. You can decide for yourselves who makes you feel safer. And he steps down off of his platform and pushes through the middle of your group.
Alright.
And says as he shoves you aside, I think you'll find that people are more willing to trust me than you. And he begins heading down the road to the south.
Did he really try to go through the middle of us?
Yeah, he does.
Pretty sure he'd be knocked sideways if he tried to go through the middle with Raiken there.
Is Raiken actively trying to stop him?
I mean, I figured we're not that spaced out. If he's trying to go through the middle of us, he's gotta be running into me.
Well, so, yeah. He's... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, you are not a 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot cube. Like, as a person, you just can take up that amount of space. So, like, there is space, but we're not, like, bumping shoulders with the person next to me necessarily.
But I mean, more than that, he is making a very particular power move. And maybe Raiken should roll insight.
Oh, that was pretty decent. 24.
Okay. As a student of war, you recognize what he's doing. He is still confident that he has the heart of the crowd, and is pushing through you for two reasons. One, it's showing the people here that he's not scared of you. And two, he knows that if you try anything, the crowd's gonna jump you to protect him. That is what he believes.
Okay,
He's
so
putting
he
himself in
passed
exactly a position to be touched by you because he's daring you to touch him. Because he knows that will only look bad for you.
So Raiken wasn't going to move, it was just if he actually tried to run into him.
I mean, he's moving in such a way that he's basically like, you're going to have to move out of his way.
Raiken's not moving. He's not going to try to do anything, but he's going to have to go around him. He's not falling for his power play. He's going to do his own power play.
Okay. He's not going to be able to force you to move, but he is going to move as little as he needs to, which means he's basically going to plant a shoulder roughly into your side. Not that that's going to hurt in your armored state.
I feel like that would hurt him more than anything.
Possibly. He doesn't show it if it does. But, like, he pushes past you. And, you know, he is at least a 5-foot-tall human with some weight on him, so, like, you know, he can... It's just like anybody in a hallway, you know, shoulder shoving their way past you. You're just bigger than he is. So he shoulder shoves, like, at your elbow.
Okay.
And the crowd around you is going to grumble and slowly begin to disperse. Your insight knows that there are some people who are having some conflicting thoughts after this exchange. You will know that a lot of people are still siding with him and choosing not to trust you. Mind reading will let you know that at least the people closest to you are having the most difficulty with the internal struggle over who's right in this case, but they know that his words were powerful and damning.
Yeah.
He had better arguments than you.
Yeah. Not my best moment, but there's still some progress.
I mean, you're fighting against hundreds and thousands of years of knowing what the score was, and now you're trying to tell them it's different. It's
just why any progress is good progress.
It's getting toward time for when the priest told you he would be ready to perform the ceremony. And you know that in the wake of the places that you stopped off, that people have been moving through the streets and spreading the word. You know that these people would have been immune to that. So as they disappear, it might be your only chance to let them know what's going on, and see if you can maybe attract any more people to see this.
Alright.
It doesn't have to be Cyrus. Anyone can speak, but it can be Cyrus. Just to let you know.
Since the others have been the ones mostly doing that, I'll look to them first.
Sounds like nobody else is taking the lead.
Alright. And I'll say this, try and say this loudly. If I may have your attention, please.
People start leaving faster.
Hey!
Wait.
Listen up!
Some of them stop.
Some of them start, like,
sprinting. Yeah.
There's going to be a public burial ceremony for the drow at the Temple of the Raven Queen.
Some people who stopped are now just like dismissively waving their hand at you and turning and leaving. Not all of them.
Maybe you could get some better insight by joining in the ceremony.
If you wish to see what they are truly about, that will be one of the better places to learn.
That's not true.
What?
Well, the ceremony is being put on by the Temple of the Raven Queen. It's a it's a burial ceremony. The drow aren't going to be speaking. Everything's going to be done by a non-drow priest.
Alright, well...
But the point was to show that the city is performing this rite for the drow. So really the message
what
is...
the drow want for their dead.
Right. So the message is, A, it's what the drow want for their dead, and B, you've got the Temple of the Raven Queen on your side.
And I guess I wouldn't have said that, I'll just leave it at what was said.
Yeah. And I'm only telling you this because your character would know.
Yep. I was just thinking it would have been one of the better spots because he was going to also be mentioning Illustrae in his,
Right, but the way you presented it made it sound like the drow were going to be speaking on their own behalf, and they're not.
Alright, then, yeah. Alright, that's a good point. My bad.
Alright. You make this announcement, most people shuffle off into the shadows, some very quickly. There are a couple stragglers, and even a couple who very timid and skittishly will approach and say, "We have never heard anyone speak that way on behalf of the drow. And if the Temple of the Raven Queen and Ione are participating in this, then perhaps you could escort us to the Lich Yard? We'd like to see it." So you'll gain maybe 8 to 10 people from that. And it's 10:35, so I will call it there.
Well, I can't think of anything that would directly relate to my, like, personality traits and things. Could I get inspiration for, the amount of roleplay at least?
Yes.
Thank you.
Alright. And, you people that were helping with the body, your reward for the not being able to be part of this scene was that you now have, proficiency in medicine. That's permanent.
Well, rejoice.
Had some ups and downs.
Rejoice.
I think overall it's mostly a plus, so happy.
Well, it's like I told you before. It's not going to be easy.
You know, I'm trying my best here.
The weight of years on their side. Alright, so everybody please take 700 points of experience.
Woo! Alright, I gotta go grab a snack or something. I'm starving.
Yep, that's good. Thank you all for joining, and I will see you next week.